my name is Laura from Laura Mixed Media. This week I am doing the Monday prompt project, and the prompt is abstract. So I am going to do this abstract journal page in my Dilutions flip journal. What we're going to do is start with some collage. Before that, I taped my edges. I don't know if you could see it there, but I just put some like artist tape, you could also use masking tape, along the edges, just so, because I like a border on my abstract pieces. I think it gives them just some more character. But there I was just using some matte medium, some fluid matte medium, to glue down my collage pieces that are actually going to be an underlayer to the abstract. And here I am just scraping some gesso over top of that. And then I am going to reach for my mechanical pencil and just start scribbling some lines into the gesso. I like the kind of texture that that gives. And then I'm going to do some little tick marks up at the top also, just to add some more to the underlayer. So now I am making my palette. I'm taking some acrylic paints. This is sap green and then some Payne's gray. I wanted to mix the sap green and the Payne's gray together because I wanted kind of a deeper green, not something that was so bright. And then I have a bright green. This is a DecoArt matcha green, and then some olive from Dino Weekly Media. And I'm trying to get the right color that I want. And then I have some more DecoArt, I think that's Jadeite glass, and then some Dino Weekly Media turquoise. And then I am taking a soft pastel and just making some scribble marks in the areas that I want to put the color. I think the colors are a cool gray and then an olive kind of green. And then I'm going in with the paint, and the cool thing about those pastels is that they are water soluble, so you can mix them with the paint. And then I added a different kind of Payne's gray, so that first one was a little too bright for me, so then I took out my DecoArt Payne's gray, which is a little darker. So you'll notice I'm kind of just doing some loose brush strokes with my brush here. And I'm using kind of a more rounded brush because I did not want like a sharper edge that maybe a flat brush would bring. So I'm kind of going back and forth and mixing all of my greens together to get the kind of feel that I wanted. So now I'm taking some Titan Buff Dark and going into my white space because I don't want it to be purely white, but I don't want it to necessarily be super dark either, so I kind of wanted something a little in the middle. And if some of my paint or pastel gets in there, that's okay. And my composition that I wanted for this abstract is to be more heavily weighted at the bottom, as you'll see, so that the top has more of that white empty space, and then there's some accents there in the middle to kind of draw your eye around. So now I'm taking that Jadeite color. I was trying to base it on this pastel color that I have that I really love called Pistachio, and I really love that color mixed with these darker tones, so that's kind of what I was trying to go for. So now I decided that that Titan Buff Deep was too deep and too dark, so I'm kind of mixing some white fluid acrylic with it, so it doesn't turn, stark white or anything, but it's not as dark as that Titan Buff Deep. So now I'm taking my mechanical pencil and scribbling into the wet paint, and then I let it dry, and now I am taking a soft pastel, it's a NuPastel actually, in the color that I was telling you about. Well, there's the pistachio there, and then there's also like Eden green or something like that, and then that's the cool gray or dark gray that I used earlier. So I'm just making scribbles and marks and stuff like that, and then now I'm adding a contrasting color, so like a lighter dusty pinky kind of color in a couple of places, and I think that's called sandalwood, although it's also a NuPastel. And I'm just kind of smudging it around a little bit. So I wanted it to be in 3 places. I wanted one like bigger area and then 2 smaller areas. And then I'm taking another pastel in like a lighter pink. I can't remember the name of this one. It comes in like squares, but it's really crumbly. And I like the color and the way it goes on. So I'm kind of just going back and forth with that. And I'll do that until I'm happy with it. So now I'm going to take my Stabilo pencil and just make some more tick marks over that area of pink, and I'm going to do it again in another spot because I want everything to kind of be in 3s. So there's the tick marks that you can't really see anymore but are still there up at the top that we did before we ever painted anything, and then these other 2 areas. One of those areas with the tick marks that I did over that light pink, I did that because it's the most congested, I guess. That's not the right word, but it's the area where the focus kind of ends up. So I wanted to really amplify that. And now I'm just kind of going again back and forth with the colors, trying to get it to where I am happy with it and I feel good about, what's going on. And that's always a process of trying to figure out what I like, what I don't like, and adding and subtracting. So you could totally stop here and it would be cool and good and pretty, but I like to add some fibers and little like area of collage to my abstracts. So I am kind of going back and forth with what I want to add. I am going back and forth with this like cheeseclothy fabric, and then also some pieces of book spine. So I end up layering those a bit so that the fibers are kind of hanging out, and then I'm taking this number off the ticket because I like the way that the stamped number is versus, something that I would maybe write or draw or something like that. And I am using my Yes paste to adhere those things onto my abstract. So now comes the time to remove the tape, and you guys, something is gonna happen. Just get ready for it. So you gotta be careful when you're removing the tape, and sometimes it likes to stick. Most of the time, like this artist tape is usually pretty good, but sometimes you can get a little overzealous and you can rip the page. Oh, I freaked out. There were some choice words, and there was maybe a little bit of yelling, but we're gonna fix it. It'll be okay. So I'm gonna take off the rest of the tape, and I will tell you I was freaking out because I was so happy with the way this turned out, and then of course I had to go and rip it. But all I'm gonna do is take some masking tape and flip it over to the other side and tape the back of it, so that way you can see I pulled out my glue, so I was going to glue it, but then I decided no, that would just mess it up and everything, so I'm just going to tape the back side so it sticks together and holds together, and no one will ever know except for, you know, all of you who are watching this. So yeah, that is it for my abstract. I hope you enjoyed the video and the process, and I can't wait to see what you make.